It's just setting up. 1 second. Okay, we're live now. Go ahead.
All right, great. Hi, everyone. We are being recorded. This is a Select Board Interview Subcommittee meeting. This open meeting of the Northborough Select Board Interview Subcommittee is being conducted remotely, consistent with Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2023 relative to extending certain COVID-19 measures adopted during the state of emergency. All members of the Northborough Select Board Interview Subcommittee are allowed to participate remotely. The Act allows Northborough Select Board Interview Subcommittee to meet remotely so long as reasonable public access is afforded so that the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. The public is encouraged to follow along using the posted agenda unless noted otherwise. Members of the public who wish to view the live stream of the recording or the recording of this meeting may do so by going to Northborough Remote Meetings on YouTube via the link listed on the agenda. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. This meeting will not feature public comment. And then, Julianne, do I confirm that all the members can be heard and staff?
Yes, yes, I'm here.
I can hear.
Okay, so all members and staff, I heard you. You can hear me?
Yes.
All right, do I have to call out your names or that's good?
I believe that's good. Just acknowledging.
Okay, great.
And then I have Robert Four and Greg Young. I will admit, Greg Young is the chair of Conservation Commission.
Okay, great.
Hi, Greg. We're just waiting for Robert to connect here. I think he's having some technical difficulty. 1 sec.
Here we go.
Sorry, I had to tell the household to be quiet.
It looks like Robert might have got kicked off. I'm gonna wait for him to sign back in. 1 moment. Let's see.
Everybody enjoying the good weather today?
Yes, it was nice.
Pretty nice.
I've been stuck inside most of the day, but
I'm sorry to hear that.
it was nice on the way in. It was sunny at least today.
Yeah, we had the windows open up in the office. It was super nice. I don't see that Robert has tried to sign back in. I apologize.
Do we have any other applicants in the
Oh,
waiting
there he
room?
is.
Oh,
There
there
he
we
is.
go.
Yeah, there we go.
All right. Okay. Yeah, so I guess Robert, can you hear us okay? Okay, great. I'm Mike Tejan. We also have Select Board Member Julianne Hirsch as well, and also the Conservation Commission Chair Greg Young on with us. Have your information here in front of me. Um, so yeah, Greg, I didn't know if there was anything you wanted to ask or go over before we maybe ask Robert a couple of questions or.
Sure, I got a couple if that's okay, Michael.
Sure.
Robert, is it Robert or Bob?
Robert or Rob.
Robert
My
or
grandfather
Bob?
was Bob, and
Very good. Okay, good. I've seen your information here, Robert. You're new to town. I think it's great that you want to spend some time on a volunteer basis here. What's your motivation for joining the Conservation Commission?
My wife and I have always been active in our communities, whether it was working with nonprofits, or community groups, community theater, whatnot.
Mhm.
So being that we're new here, she is actively engaged, employed in downtown Boston, and I'm currently retired and taking classes at Quinn Sig. So I'm actively in a lab as we speak.
Oh, okay.
So just it seemed like a good opportunity for us to jump in, specifically me, but more our family, and starting that engagement with our community.
Great, great. Um, uh, why do you think you'd be an asset to the commission?
Well, I'm going to be honest with you. We haven't lived here very long, and I don't personally know the commission, but I think given my experience on the commercial side as
Yep.
a owner of a construction company, both on the uh, commercial construction, building bridges, and on the residential side, flipping houses and working with just more residential. I have a lot of experience. 20 years in the military makes me a well-disciplined individual.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought it would be a good way to, like I said earlier, start engaging in the community.
Good, good. So you don't have any previous knowledge of the Wetland Protection Act then, do you?
No.
Okay, well, there's training available on that, so that's not a big deal. And it sounds like you might be available, given your status, to visit site visits during the week. We tend to do that on Thursdays or Fridays, or as we did some today. So it kind of depends.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, absolutely.
Any questions you have for me?
Not specifically. I
No. Can
Frozen.
you still hear us, Rob?
Oh, oh,
I would love to be able to participate.
okay, cool. Michael or Julianne?
Yeah, Rob, yeah, thanks for submitting all the information. Thanks for serving. Looks like you have a very distinguished career in the military, so thank you there. Yeah, and I think Greg got on a couple of the key questions, right? Sort of what interests you about the Conservation Commission, and kind of what background do you have, and which I think he kind of answered. I don't think I have any other questions at the moment. Julianne, any questions for Rob?
Well, so yes, I'd also like to thank you for your service and welcome to town.
Thanks.
So, your application was extremely complete and extremely interesting. So you worked for the Army Corps of Engineers.
Specifically in Afghanistan.
Oh, wow.
And
Okay.
then additionally, I worked alongside them as a DoD contractor on Joint Base Lewis McChord in the planning and execution of the largest maintenance facility within the Department of Defense, with direct support to the Stryker Brigade systems, which was everything from satellite dishes to four-wheeled vehicles.
So this may seem like a very stupid question, but people say questions are not stupid.
Yeah.
How do you think that your work with the Army Corps of Engineers would translate to Conservation Commission?
I think the Corps of Engineers, obviously they have a very specific Department of Defense need, but I think they did a really decent job of ensuring that no harm was done to the environment or the surrounding communities. We did a lot of work, one, in identifying what the requirements of the mission would be for that specific activity, but we integrated designs for heating our buildings that utilized geothermal heat, which also doubled as a mitigation system for waste oils that Fort Lewis at the time had been dumping within the logistics area, which then contaminated the ground soil, which then created a plume that was moving towards the Puget Sound. And understanding how fine and how harmful those chemicals could be to the sound and groundwaters in general, but designing a system that could do multiple things that benefited several aspects of the environment, whether it was reducing our carbon footprint by using geothermal or tapping into those ground wells, again, reducing our footprint, but also making the environment better than what we had made it. Like the Army cannot deny the fact that they were just wholesale dumping oil into pits as a means of getting rid of it since the 40s all the way through the 80s.
But we didn't know what was going to happen then, right?
Absolutely. Like quite frankly, if I'm not willing to drink it, why would I dump it into the ground?
Good point.
We probably had a little bit of a clue.
That's a great motto.
But it's, I think it's important that we understand and balance the interests of our community without doing harm to our environment. Those two things need a group of well-balanced, well-educated, well-experienced individuals to make sure that, we want a new fire station, but we should make sure that when they wash the trucks, we're not just dumping that runoff from their machines and whatever contaminants that they got onto their vehicles from being at an incident that goes right into our gray water system and, into our lakes and rivers. But that being said, we still have to wash the trucks.
Yeah.
We can't not respond. There's a balance between mitigation, acceptance, and, it takes a group, it takes the community to be able to figure out what that limit is.
Yeah, what the compromise is.
Yeah.
So my next question has to do with your volunteer experience. And can you tell me what the procession of the species celebration is?
I had the same question. That's it.
Okay. Washington State.
It sounds very Washington.
Olympia. It's a parade. It's a celebration of our environment they do everything from, plays or street performances. They do an actual parade where kids dress up, community groups, specifically my family, my children went to the Waldorf school. So the Waldorf school community, they would dress up in a themed theatrical, costumes, whether it was the Puget Sound or it was, night critters that changed year to year. And then, the families would kind of dress up and then the community would come together and we would parade through the streets. And it wasn't just Waldorf, it was endless groups. But typically this procession of the species, it culminated with a physical parade, but it was about it was a long weekend's worth of activities. that they would do. And, there's committee group that goes on to figure out how are we going to organize this? What route are we going to take? And it was a ton of fun. It was absolute blast. And then the other group, now this was kind of a family thing. We supported an organization called Sidewalk, which provided housing care that was not designed to be short term. Now, I worked with Trudy, if you looked them up at all. Trudy is the director. And I would work with her when evaluating properties to purchase, is to, taking in my contracting experience, what would it take to be able to make a home or a piece of property a home for an individual. And the real idea behind Homes First relative to Sidewalk, which was another organization, Sidewalk provided immediate housing, but it was short term. And their turnover rate was very high. Whereas Homes First, it was, we get you into a home, we surround you with services, and then you have a home until you're ready or able to produce enough income to move on to a new home, a new apartment, a new, So it was very much a work between the Homes First organization and the home, or the person that occupied we'll call them a renter. They were supposed to, but it was not required to pay some percentage of, and it was negotiated. Some people paid 15%, some people paid, more, but some percentage of what they could pay for the house. And then again, like you said, they would be able to stay there until they were able to pay 100% of whatever their family was able to, housing that they could get into without being at risk of falling back into homelessness. Like their entire mission statement was, no one goes back into homelessness. So it was a great organization. It was fantastic. My wife was much more active on she was a board president. She was a board secretary. So within our family, she was much more on the board side, and I was kind of on the backside, helping with projects at houses, whether it was a storm damaged fence and the family needed help getting it fixed. I had all the tools, and we would show up and, sorry, that's a bus. I'm standing outside my classroom. So long story short, great organization. Totally recommend. It's a great model.
Yeah.
To be able to take individuals and family members and ensure that they don't go back into a state of homelessness. So, which is not what our government is good at.
True.
In Washington, I don't really have that much experience here in Massachusetts. Northborough, as I'm sure you're aware, does not have a high homeless population.
Thankfully.
Right. Yeah.
Housing insecurity, maybe, but homelessness doesn't seem to be an issue.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Thank you, Robert, for that explanation. Julian or Greg, did you have any other questions for Rob?
I think I'm pretty good, thank you.
I'm good. I'd like to hear more about all of his projects, but we have people waiting.
Right.
I'm happy to come over and have a cup of coffee with you tomorrow.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, no, I think I'm good. Rob, really appreciate you making time to meet us through Zoom, and hopefully be able to meet in person at some point in the future.
I look forward to it.
Thank you, Rob.
Thank you. We'll talk to you soon.
Take care.
Okay, and then Greg, if you want, I'm gonna bring in for community
Yep.
affairs, Brianne and Lisa, who's a member of community affairs, and then we'll bug you again after that interview, if that's
So
okay.
you want me to just mute my video or
Yeah, if you don't mind hanging on for a little bit, that'd be great.
I'm going to, I think I'm going to, how do I do this now? Stop video. Am I off?
Yep, yeah, I can't see you.
Okay. I can see you, but I guess I'll just go and
Yeah, that's fine.
be productive for 15 minutes and come back.
There you go.
Yeah,
Okay.
I know if you want to mute yourself too there.
Yeah, I can do that,
Greg.
sure.
Yeah, just to be
Yep.
sure. There you go.
Hi, Brianne.
Hi.
Hi, Lisa.
Hi, how are you? Good. How you doing?
Good, good. So I'll leave you with Mike and Julianne.
Awesome.
All right, great. Hi, Brianne. Hi, Lisa. Thanks for coming on.
Hi. Thank you.
Hi,
Thanks for
guys.
having me. It's glad to hear
Hi.
back.
Yeah, I'm Mike Tejan, member of the Select Board. Julianne Hirsch, also member of the of Select Board, and yeah, was just kind of wondering, for the Community Affairs Committee, sort of what why Community Affairs, and go from there.
Sure. Yeah, I moved here about 4 years ago with my family. I'm originally from Massachusetts, but had lived in Texas for a few years with my husband. And, we were looking for a town to settle down in, and I found Northborough was close enough to get to Boston when we needed to. And now we're really in it here for the long haul. So I recently have some space in my calendar. I have 2 of my kids are in school now, so I wanted to get more involved with something volunteering, and definitely have the capacity there now. So I've always loved to bring people together, and I've attended all the events that we've had here in town over the last few years and really enjoy them. And was having a conversation with one of the moms that I know in town, Nora, who had recently gotten involved, and it seemed very much up my alley, and was happy to hear that they had more positions open and available. Yeah.
Great. Julianne, did you have any questions?
You're on
Oh,
mute,
you're muted.
Julianne.
I'm sorry, trying to keep everybody quiet in this house. Could you just pronounce your last name for us?
Sure. It's Lefebvre, but I'm actually going to the DMV tomorrow, and it will be Kaufman. I've been married for 6 years, but I'm officially changing my name as of tomorrow because I have to get a real ID. So I decided, why not kill 2 birds with 1 stone?
There you go.
So it will be Kauffman, but right now it's still Lefebvre.
Okay. Okay, so it looks to me like you might have had an older application form, because usually we're kind of curious, it doesn't matter, but
Yeah.
we're curious about how you heard about this committee opening, just because we're keeping track.
Yeah, sure. I heard about it through my friend Nora, who's also a mom in Northborough. So she mentioned to me that was something that she recently got involved with. And I'm a part of the Southborough Kinder Group right now, where I'm a board member, and I put on a lot of like mom night outs events, and I put on the big Easter egg committee, the big Easter egg event every year. But I wanted to do more Northborough things because, it's great that they're inclusive and they allow neighboring towns to be involved, but I wanted to get more involved with my own town that I live in, and help to use my creative ideas and just kind of help bolster what we have now. I have no problem with calling local businesses to try to get some fundraising. I have no problem with, just those types of things. I was constantly cold calling in the old days when I was back in the office. I've been a stay-at-home mom for the last, it'll be 5 years now, but I need a little bit more, I'm excited to get a little bit more involved and do things outside the home, and this will be a fun kickstart there.
Yeah, and what you do with the marketing and calling people is it's a skill, and some people are not that comfortable with it, so you'd be really helpful.
Yeah, I don't mind at all. Yeah.
So what I was really what I really kind of liked was, you in your application you said that you thought that you would bring a valued perspective as a mother of a young family somewhat new to town. And having moved not too much myself, but enough times that moving to a new town can be a challenge.
Yes. Yeah, I think especially when I moved during the pandemic. So people were so scared of getting together, and it was kind of isolating when I first came here because I was pregnant with my youngest. And over time, I think people got a little bit more comfortable getting together, and I started reaching out to other people on Facebook and hosted kind of meetups at my house, and getting out there. But I think being new to a town, the best thing you can do is just find other people that include you on things, whether it's just word of mouth, you meet people at the library or, at the park or at Marshall's, and you just hear about local events that they have going on and just easy ways to meet up with others and connect. That's kind of how I started getting more settled and realized that Northborough is where we wanted to stay because we started getting more of a community of people and friends here. So that's been great.
Oh, that's so good to hear.
Yeah.
So, did Lisa, is Lisa the person from Community Affairs waiting?
I am. Yep. Yeah, I'm here. Yep. I've just been happily listening.
Hi.
Hi. I know I'm hiding in my video. There you go.
Because Mike, don't we usually have, if Brianne has questions about the committee or, if Lisa has questions?
Yep.
Yeah, I would say, Julianne, Lisa, if you have questions for Brianne or vice versa.
Well, I'll go first if you don't mind, Brianne. I mean, I think everything you said fits exactly with what we're doing, what we look for. We love having worker bees. We love ideas, but we also love people who are not afraid to ask for things too. So that's awesome. I think, Julianne, you made an excellent point about being new to town. I think it's nice to have a new perspective in that regard. And do you want me to give you a little bit of a blurb about everything too? Because I'm more than happy. I'm sure Nora's filled you in to some degree, but so I think getting them when you're younger, it's the same thing that I did when my kids were younger as well as when I joined, and for the exact same reasons, right? Your kids are a little bit older, you looking for something to kind of get you into the community. So it's the same path a lot of us on the committee joined for. So I mean, the next thing, you were there for pumpkins. Did you win?
I don't think so. It was okay. I was proud of it, but it wasn't as good as some of them there for sure.
There's some. So so you saw exactly what some of our things are. Our pumpkin one is relatively new, so we're still trying to bring inroads and build strides with that one. But then next we do the tree lighting, which has been around for a long time. During COVID, we started the Light Up the Town competition. And so we make a Google map with all the different decorated homes in town. So you can kind of drive around and check all that out. And then we do a kindness event now in February. We've done luminaries in the town common before, and we're trying to expand that a little bit. But we do that right around February, right around Valentine's Day. Town cleanup we've been doing for ages. That pretty much runs itself. That's amazing. And then we do the summer concerts. We have 5 or 6 concerts over the summer, but those are planned pretty much in January, February, and those pretty much run themselves once we get everything in motion.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I've been to those. I've been to most of those things you mentioned. Those are all great. So when you say they're all planned, you have all the additional vendors. Are people able to join later on? Can a small business come and say, hey, I want to have a little booth at the summer concert? Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. We lock down the bands pretty much. I mean, they might honestly be locked down at this point, but we usually do the application process in January, February. We at least have our dates locked down. And then closer to the event, we look for our food vendors. We have our tried and true who really help us. And then, we've definitely branched out and we've looked at using some smaller local groups to see, I think some Girl Scouts sold lemonade at the Disco Lemonade as a bit of a fundraiser. So we're always open to new ideas or new opportunities to either bring small businesses to the town or to bring the town to a small business in any way, shape that we can. Yeah.
Sounds great.
Lisa, how do you manage the budget?
So so right now Jen Martin is our treasurer. And it's pretty simple. I mean, we get a certain amount of money from the Treasury every year. And then as far as, I think our biggest expense is the concerts. And
Yeah.
so we sell our sponsorship packages for those, and they pretty much, we pay for them through the sponsorship packages. And so Jen Martin manages the budget, and anything that like expenses, like I usually order the banner that goes on the fence on 135, and then we get reimbursed for that. But I mean, it's really just, it's a pretty, I mean, I'm PTO president too. So the community affairs budget is pretty quiet with its ins and outs compared to like a PTO budget. A couple things here and there. But yeah.
Sorry, Brianne, I interrupted you.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah, no worries. I mean, I feel like I have had most of my questions answered from Nora. I guess my only other question is, do you have any, what's your biggest challenge within the organization right now? Is there an event that's a challenge, or is there a existing focus that you're working on, whether it's just getting more involvement from the community or attendance on certain things?
Yeah, I think it's the younger events, like the pumpkins or kindness week, the things that we're starting to add layers on. Like the concerts are tried and true. But the menorah lighting is something new or two that we've integrated in. So just it's we have our tried and true couple things, right? And then it's the newer things that we've just started pretty much since COVID, maybe.
Yeah.
And it's really figuring out strides for that and figuring out what works and doesn't work, and building interest and continuing.
And are you
building,
able, are you able to send out like digital awareness things through, like, I think they have them at the elementary school, like you can put them in the fold. Are you able to do things through the school at all? Or is that something that
we probably could.
Yeah.
Well versed in school communications, because I'm the one who's literally on the Parent Square communications. So yeah, it is possible. It's more of, it takes a kind of a lead time to do something like that too. So yeah, I definitely think that's possible. We do a lot on Facebook, and that's kind of our tried and true. But yeah, we're honestly, any idea we're open to, honestly.
Cool. Awesome. Thank you so much for answering my questions. Yeah, I think I would definitely love to be involved. I know I have a lot to learn, and I just being new to the town and new to an organization like this, but would definitely be interested in joining for sure.
We're very interested in having you join. Very excited.
Awesome. Do you have any other questions for me at all?
I don't personally. I mean, I think I know Nora. I think I'm happy from my end.
All right. Yeah, no, I don't have any additional questions. Julianne?
No, but I think we should, Brianne, you should understand that at the end of our interviews today, Mike and I talk about the candidates, and then we have to, the candidates get approved at the next select board meeting, which is, I guess we'll have time on November 18th. That's our next meeting. So, no decisions made tonight. It has to go before the full board, but it was lovely meeting you.
Thank you. So great meeting you as well. Appreciate it. Thanks for taking the time.
Thanks, Lisa.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you so much. It was so nice to meet you officially.
Bye.
All right.
Bye, Lisa. Bye,
Thank you.
Brianne.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Take care.
Okay, I have John Johnson. I'm going to admit him for Conservation Commission, and if Greg, if you can hear me. Yep, perfect.
Hi, John. Can you hear us?
I can. How are you?
Great. Good. My name is Mike Tejan, Select Board member, along with Julianne Hirsch, also Select Board member, and Greg Young of the Conservation Commission. He's the chair. So thanks for coming on and making some time to answer some questions from us. Greg, if you had a couple of initial questions for John.
Sure, I do, Michael. Welcome, John. How are you today?
Doing well.
Good. A couple of quick ones here. What's your motivation for volunteering some time on the Conservation Commission?
Well, I was approached by Vincent a couple of months ago when my neighbor's house was up on fire, and they put it out, and talked to Vinny about, some of the results of that fire and what had happened and the proximity of the pond out in my front yard, about that. And it sparked an interest about being more observant to what's going on in the town about conserving our wetlands. So I talked a little bit about Vinny about that. And I told him how much I'd like to play a role in that with our town. And he said that there might be some opportunities for you because we got some openings. He said, have you thought about, considering? And so I said, well, so Greg, to be honest with you, I said, I don't know if I'm going to be a good fit. And he said, well, why not? And I said, I'm kind of an avid hunter. I'm not that guy that, is out there to do a whole lot of preservation type work, but I am extremely conscious of our environment, what we have here in Northborough, and of our wetlands, because I am an active fisherman. And I'm just really interested in making sure that our town preserves our wetland conservation land. And he said, you definitely should join. He
There you
said,
go.
we had folks before that were avid hunters, and he said that should not deter you. So I said, then I'm in. I'm gonna toss in my hat.
Actually, we had one of the openings caused by the passing of one of our members, and he was a very active hunter, and he brought a very interesting perspective to some discussions around Mount
Okay,
Pisgah
great.
and so
Yeah.
forth there. So
And,
yeah,
and that's what I help to do also. I'm not saying I want to bring a hunting league into Northborough. That's not my ambition at all. But I think I can offer a lot of wildlife advice and assistance to the board. Not that they need it, but I'm just thinking I could offer a strong voice in that direction.
good. You answered my second question, which was around why do you think you'd be an asset? I think you might have answered that already, unless you want to add to that.
Yeah, and also I'm an avid sailor and an avid hiker and mountain climber. So I do very, very well with topo maps and terrain measurement, bathymetric indexes and all of that. So there's probably not a map out there that scares me. So I looked at I've attended a couple of the town's conservation meetings, and I've looked at what you have to approach with, and I think I can read those maps really well. I've also attended some of the Board of Health meetings where they've brought up the maps about people trying to put wells in areas where there's not enough room, and also if they need to increase their septic size. I paid attention to those maps and what was allowed there too. So that also sparks an interest to make sure that we're preserving our groundwater and making sure we meet the needs of the community when people put those requests in.
Okay. Do you have any knowledge of the Wetland Protections Act?
A little. I haven't had a chance to read it all, but I have a little knowledge of it. Yes.
It's very exciting reading. It'll definitely.
I'm just the exciting reading that I've been paying attention to is the border lines and where the borders are and how that applies to our town and when we step in and I've listened to you, Greg, no pressure, but I've listened to you and your commentary on some of those 100-foot boundaries and then the 300-foot boundaries. And so just learning about that, I've got a lot more to learn about that if I join the team.
Right. Well, there's training available here on that side too. So, and we have a local bylaw in Northborough, which is more stringent than the state bylaw.
I noticed. Yes.
Any questions you have for me?
A couple. The first one is I noticed Vinny is our agent, and he comes out on site to do concerns and inspections. Would I ever have the opportunity to accompany him into some of those inspections and some of those site visits?
Yes, we do Vinny and I go out once a month, twice a month, reviewing the sites on the agenda for that month.
Okay.
And certainly we encourage other members to come along with us.
Right.
In addition, Vinny goes out by himself on certain items, and if somebody wanted to tag along with Vinny, he certainly would be welcome to that.
Okay. The next question I had is our last conservation meeting. I attended that call. You might have remembered my name on that call, and it was pretty extensive. And there was quite a bit of material there, Greg. And I was just wondering what what's my time frame? When is that material presented to the committee and the board for us to review it in lieu of our Monday evening call?
The whole material package is released the week prior.
Oh, good. Excellent. Okay.
And that includes meeting minutes from the previous month, any sort of documentation that's required. We also use a Dropbox. If you're familiar with Dropboxing, and all the documentation is in there too.
Excellent. All right. Excellent. Okay. I was just wondering, is this material presented on Saturday evening, and that takes my Sunday afternoon to go through all that material, and just because some of it, it was pretty extensive, and I wanted to research it a little bit more, and just want to make sure I have that opportunity.
Sure.
The last question I have is, so if I do have questions, Greg, about one of the maps, one of the layouts, or what the requests were for a permit, is it permissible for me to have a conversation with you outside of the conservation meeting? So if there was something that was omitted, or I felt that was missing, can I say, hey, Greg, why is this document missing? Or I feel that this information may be incorrect. Is it okay for me to have that conversation with you outside of being, I'll call it, excuse the expression, under oath, if you will, on a town call?
Well, it depends. I mean, we've got to be very careful of open meeting law violations. So
Okay.
we can have conversations. We can't discuss certain things on site without having a quorum there. There's also training available on that.
Okay, good. Okay. I believe that's all I have for questions for you folks.
Okay. I'm good. Michael, Julianne?
No, I mean, your conversation there was pretty thorough. I don't know if I have any additional questions. Julianne?
Yeah, I have to say that first of all, your interest in the committee is you have clearly thought this out, and the time that you spend outdoors, whether it's hunting or mountain climbing or whatever, probably is a huge asset. I just have one kind of funny question. And this it might not even apply to the Conservation Commission, but I know that there's a lot of work being done by Sustainable Northborough on invasive species.
Yep.
Is
Yeah.
the Conservation Commission?
So
is
very
that-
interesting that you asked that. Sorry, Greg, if I can overstep. So when I was going through some of the property of concern that I have that abutted the marshal's house that had burnt down in front of me at 166 Whitney. Vinny and I were walking some of the property line where I have, and he was noticing a couple of the maple trees that I had that sit on the wetland. And he saw those vines that were very invasive climbing the trees. And I pointed those out to him. And he said, John, have you thought about cutting those? And I said, well, I love to, but it's part of the wetland. He goes, oh, John, he said, cut them. You have every right to go ahead and take care of that, because those are killing the trees and having an impediment on the wetland. Go ahead and cut them. So those type of I'll call it invasive species material, Greg gave me at least the green light to go ahead and remove them. Other invasive species that I think kind of draw the line, and again, this is up to Greg, but even things like when you consider Pachysandra, right? That's an invasive species itself. But would I dig up my Pachysandra because it's invading the wetland? Probably not. So I think there's a fine line there.
Yeah, Julian, to answer your question on Sustainability Northborough, they've come to several of our meetings and spoken about things they want to do. In fact, we hooked them up with, I think, the Trails Committee on some work around invasive species, and they did pull a lot of stuff out of Bartlett Pond. So,
yeah, they're doing a lot of manual labor.
Yeah.
yes, they are, and the Trails Committee, if you don't know, they're very, very active, and they've got lots of resources to jump in. So, great resource for the town.
And where I am on Whitney Street, I've got Whitney Street in front of me, and right behind me is all of the Edmund Hill Woods.
Yeah.
So my property here on Whitney Street is I'm very fortunate to be located where I am, to be able to step out over the fence in the backyard and be on conservation land.
we're lucky to be in Northborough. We have a lot of those wonderful green spaces. It's
Yeah. Yep. Yep. Cool.
All right. John, any other questions for us?
Let me get on my list. No, I'm good. Thank you.
All right. Yeah, so what we'll end up doing at the end of this call, after we've interviewed all candidates that we've got on the agenda tonight, Julianne and I discuss and then decide sort of, right, which candidates we would recommend to the greater board at our next meeting to be voted on to join for yourself, say the Conservation Commission, or for others, Community Affairs. So our next meeting would be the 18th, and then our discussion is public record, so you could always watch it or view it after. So
Okay. Very good.
nice to meet you.
Thank you, Joe.
yeah,
Thank
nice
you,
meeting you,
everyone.
John. Thanks.
Thank you,
Have a
John.
good evening. Take
You
care.
too.
Okay, and then I have Sadie Stone. I will admit her now. One moment. Hi, Sadie, can you hear us?
Hi. Yes, I can now.
Hi.
How are you?
All right, I'll leave you guys to it.
All right, thanks, Angie. Yeah, hi, Sadie. My name is Mike Tejan, member of the Northborough Select Board, also joined by Julianne Hirsch, also member of the Select Board, and Greg Young, chair of the Conservation Commission. Thanks for making time to chat with us through Zoom tonight.
You're welcome. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, great. Yeah, so as we've done with a couple of the other candidates, Greg, I'll defer to you first for a few of your questions, and then we'll go to myself and Julianne.
Okay, good, cool, good. Well, Sadie, first of all, thanks for interest in the Conservation Commission. Appreciate it.
Of course.
What's your motivation wanting to join? I see you've been on Concons before.
I've been on a few different conservation commissions in New Hampshire and Vermont. And I have always wanted to join the Northborough Conservation Commission, but I was moving in and out of Northborough quite a bit, through college, and just didn't have the time to commit to it. But now I'm here for good. So I originally just wanted to volunteer, and when a spot opened up, I thought it's perfect. I'll finally get to apply. My background, my first master's degree is in conservation biology and environmental science, and I field, and I miss it. And I think this is a great way to get back to that in a way. Right now I teach 7th grade science at Melican, so I'm a little bit removed from, this side of conservation work. But I grew up here, and I just, it's very near and dear to my heart. I just love it here. And my whole childhood was spent outside and in the woods and exploring Northborough in the mud and up to my knees. And
Good.
so, I want to make sure that I'm doing my part to conserve that and protect that if I can.
Why do you think you'd be an asset to the commission?
Well, I do have some experience from other conservation commissions. My experience working with the Keene, New Hampshire Conservation Commission was really eye-opening to me. Keene's a pretty large city, and we were working on a master conservation plan for the city. So it was really cool to be able to kind of be a part of that from the early stages of it, and see how, we were working with the city councilors and the mayor and boards within the city to kind of break those pieces of that master plan down, and then getting to work on what we thought were going to be the big conservation pieces. And then in Brattleboro, Vermont, Brattleboro's pretty big, but it's not big like Keene. And it's a very different atmosphere and type of conservation commission. So that was really interesting to me just to see, how different cities and different towns work as a conservation commission and what their priorities are.
How'd you find them to be different from the different commissions?
Keene seemed a lot more political to me, in a way, and not in a bad way, but it was more of like a process to go through everything, and a lot more, running things by city council and then running things through the state, and things seem to take longer. In Vermont, in Brattleboro, it seemed like things happened quicker, and maybe it was just the need at the time that I was a part of it. Like I said, in Keene, we were working on that big master plan, so that was a big focus of our meetings, which of course is going to take a long time and be more of a political kind of process. But in Brattleboro, it was more focused on just small pieces that we were working on, smaller conservation issues that were happening. So
Do you have any knowledge of the Mass Wetland Protection Act?
I do. I'm a little rusty on it, but I do have some knowledge on it. With conservation commissions, and they're similar, I think, in New Hampshire and Vermont. I think Massachusetts is a little more strict than Vermont for sure, and even New Hampshire. So I would have to refresh my memory on some of that.
Okay. Well, there is training available, so that's out there.
Oh, awesome.
Questions you might have for me?
I would love to know what you guys are currently working on and what you're hoping to do in the future. I have read a lot of the minutes from the last few meetings, and I think I was able to join. I forget, it was the September meeting, and it seemed like there was some things going on that were a little bit debated.
Yes, yeah, we have a number of things going on. Well, we have a lot of in Northborough. All the easily developable land's been developed for the most part. So most of the work that's coming in now is all the land plots that have an issue of some sort. We do try to strike a balance between the property owner's rights and the Wetland Protection Act. We try and do, which I think we do a pretty good job again in the middle there. The commission also has responsibility now for stormwater management, which is about 1.5 years, 2 years old. So that's a little different take on things, but there is some similarities there around treatment systems and all that. That's
right.
So it's basic blocking and tackling. We have NOIs, we have RDAs, various types of documentation. We have neighbors against neighbors. So it's a varied situation, as you probably have seen.
Excellent. Yeah, my aunt, you might all know her. Her name's Marielle Stone. She's a volunteer at the Trails Committee in Northborough, but she works for the Department of Environmental Services and Mass Wetlands Department, or division, I should say. So I've always been, I pick her brain a lot on those issues.
Good. I think I'm good. Here. You have no more questions for me, Michael or Julianne?
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't. Again, usually, Greg, you get out the key information and say thank you for sharing it all. I don't think I have any other specific Conservation Commission questions, Julianne.
Well, it jumped out at me that the Conservation Commission now is responsible for stormwater management. That's very interesting. And I was wondering, this is just kind of, just an aside kind of, but how do you both feel about using rain gardens more in stormwater management?
Oh,
I love
my
rain
view
gardens.
is it's terrific. Any sort of green architecture or green work like that, we always recommend that many times in our orders of condition.
Oh, wow. That's great.
Yeah, rain gardens are amazing assets to any property, I think. We actually did a lot of installs of rain gardens, oddly enough, when I was in AmeriCorps. I don't know why, but my team just seemed to keep getting those projects.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, it was really interesting to build them and see them years later.
Yeah, it's a wonderful solution, I think. And
Mhm.
luckily our town planner is you know, very excited about that. So yeah, that's I don't have any more questions. It's
Okay. All right, great. Sadie, any other questions for any of us?
I apologize if you said this before when you said that the Conservation Commission was taking over the stormwater management, but who was doing that before?
Uh, it really was, well, it didn't have an ownership. It didn't have an owner. It was
Oh.
done by the planning board, did some, really wasn't in their bailiwick. The town brought some consultants in to develop a comprehensive stormwater management plan. And part of that was who's the owner here, and the Concom was a natural person to do that, or
Yeah.
organization to do that.
Okay.
So like the new fire station, that we met with that group 2 or 3 times prior, talking about stormwater management, leading off of the trucks and
Yeah,
soil being the soil clean old gas station. And what are you gonna do about the runoffs and all that stuff?
right. Yeah, that's really interesting. I'm excited to kind of get more into that aspect of things. I think that's going to be unique to my experience on a conservation commission if I'm selected to be on it. Could we have done that in the past commissions that I've worked on?
do you do anything with pervious, you know, the amount of pervious surface that buildings would have to, you know, be aware of?
We do, yes. Yes, we have a notice of intent if somebody wants to put a new driveway in or build a house or whatever. We try and eliminate or manage impervious surface as low as possible. And we have alternatives. The commission has makeup of the commissions. We have in my view, very diverse makeup. We have an attorney who specializes in environmental sciences and real estate. We have a civil engineer. Our Concom agent is also civil engineer. So we get the engineering feedback coming in around, let's try this instead of asphalt. Let's try this instead of that. So yes,
Yeah.
we do recommend that as much as possible.
Yeah, that's great, because that's another big issue, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, Sadie. So, what we'll do is Julianne and I we'll discuss the candidates for the different positions that we've interviewed tonight. We then decide on a recommendation to the full select board, and then the full board would vote recommended candidates on if they agreed at our next meeting. Should be on the agenda for November the 18th. So our discussions, deliberations on this call are public record, so you can view it or now or watch the recording, as with the greater select board meeting on the 18th. So
Okay, excellent. That sounds great. Well, I
Great.
appreciate all of you inviting me to talk to you, and thank you for your time, and I look forward to that
Nice to meet you.
hearing.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Take care.
You too.
Greg, are you still there?
I am.
You have only 2 positions,
Yes, we have 2 positions.
and you don't have alternates or anything like
We
that?
do not have alternates. We talked about that in the past, but I guess we have to go through a certain process to change the charter to do that. So no alternates. We have 7 members.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to ask, Julie.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
You want my 2 cents?
Sure.
yes.
Maybe 2.5 cents. I think Sadie's an outstanding candidate with her background
Yeah.
and being a middle school science teacher is pretty cool too. That's an interesting piece in there.
Mhm.
I think John Johnson certainly has some motivation and some background and would be a very, very good candidate. And I think that Robert Four is motivated. I think that we should probably, maybe not so much for the Concom, but we should try and find a place for him in some town commission or committee.
Yeah, you kind of took my thoughts exactly. That's kind of where I would go. I thought Sadie, super strong candidate, given her background and the fact that she's a middle school teacher right here in
Yeah.
Northborough. And picked up on John's enthusiasm and sort of already, background knowledge and things like that. And boy, I would really love to get Rob on a board or committee somewhere here in Northborough.
Yeah.
I think he brings a drive and a military precision to sort of what he wants to do and move forward with. So I think it would be great to get him involved somewhere. I was even, as we were kind of talking, looking up I was like, what vacancies are out there? What could we maybe put in front of him to to get him because I think he's certainly be a great citizen and a good asset to Northborough on a board. So
Well, thank you, Greg. Nice to see you.
No worries, no worries. Thank you. Thank you, Michael. Thanks,
yeah,
Andy.
thanks, Greg.
Thanks, Greg. Appreciate it.
Okay.
Julian and Mike, I can email Rob the vacancies if he wants to take a look at them and kind of a overview of each committee that's open. I'll do that tomorrow.
Well,
yeah.
I mean, I think we need a little more discussion on this because, I mean, he worked for the Army Corps of Engineers. I don't think that's any small feat, right?
Right. No, and that's why, I think we got, it's like feast or famine, right? It's you've got only 2 positions and 3 super qualified candidates. If I had to rank them just based on talking, I mean, they all were nice people, spoke well, I think conveyed that they deserve or have deserve a position, say, on a conservation commission. Given also their background and what they do, I kind of ranked them. Maybe the top 2 would be kind of Sadie and John, just from background and what they already know, what they already kind of bring, kind of be able to be up and running rather quickly, maybe with the Conservation Commission. Where, but Rob brings, that the military background, Army Corps of Engineer. I mean, he's deployed to Afghanistan and all across the world, right? I mean, I would wish they had an alternate. I wish we had another opening. I don't know. I mean, that would be sort of, if we're in the consideration and recommendation part of our discussion, I would go with Sadie and John, and then just convey to Robert that it's like, we would love to have gotten him on that committee too. It's just, it was a lot of stiff competition, or however you want to word it, and that we would love to have him contributing to Northborough, on another board, and if he could find another vacancy, something he might be interested in and apply his talents to. I don't know if you think, I don't know what you think, Julianne, what your thoughts were on all 3.
Well, as you said, it's feast or famine. And truthfully, the only one thing that the other 2 candidates had over Robert is that they have made it their business to attend the meetings, correct? I think he said that he has not. I'm looking at his application. I don't think that he's attended meetings.
He did provide the most information, it seems, out of all the candidates.
Yeah.
But you're right. Yeah, he has, Sadie's reviewed minutes, been to meetings. John, same thing. He didn't mention that, so I didn't hear that and didn't see that in any of the information.
I don't think I don't know why I say that. I'm looking at his application, but it doesn't really, his application doesn't ask, do you have any goals? if this is not a new BCC, have you been able to watch or participate? And he answers no. So I think that the other candidates made it their business to watch and understand a little more. And
Sure.
so I mean, just to find something to rank the others, as who we're going to recommend. That's the only thing, because they're all great. I mean, Sadie has a degree in this. You can't not
Right.
want her. And I have to say, John Johnson was, he's really thought this out. It's a lot of good questions, and I mean, even talking about the invasive species on his property, he may not have a degree in this per se, but he is certainly learning through experience and self-education. So I'm afraid I have to agree with you. I wish we could take all three, but
Right.
if Angie could help us out and let him know about the other openings on other commissions. I mean, I could even see him on finance or something like that, so.
I'll definitely do that. I'll send him an email tomorrow.
And you'll get the list of what's available, and really just convey how sad we are that.
Yeah, I mean, just looking over it quick, I mean, there's a spot on open space, a few spots on trails, earthwork board. There's a
He might
number
like
of
open space too.
Yeah, I mean, kind of adjacent to conservation. I mean, but he may be, oh yeah, elderly and disabled taxation, sign me up, who knows? But so yeah, so Angie, yeah, if you could just convey to him what else we have open, and then I guess is just how close it was and how much we appreciate him and his experience, and however.
And
he may be watching now, so he may already know. So but okay, so
we
yeah.
have 2 appointments. One is up in 2027, one is up in 2026. How do you want to do that? I don't think it matters much, but
okay, yeah, seat 2, 27, seat 4, 26. I would go Sadie, seat 2, John, seat 4.
And what years are those, John? 2027 or
John would be 2026, Sadie would be 2027.
Okay, so would you like a motion?
I would.
I move that the select board interview subcommittee vote to recommend John Johnson for appointment to Conservation Commission for so that would be like a 1.5 year term to expire April 30th, 2026.
Second.
And then
so moved.
And I'm in favor. Are you in favor?
I'm in favor, yes.
Okay.
Hand is up.
All right. And then I also move that the select board interview subcommittee vote to recommend Sadie Stone for appointment to the Conservation Commission for so that's also like a 2.5 year term to expire April 30th, 2027.
So moved. Second.
And I'm in favor. And
I'm in favor.
Okay. All right. And then, well, should we move on to Brianne?
Yeah. I mean, I think Brianne, maybe they think Community Affairs just has the one opening and we have the one candidate, right? So I didn't see any red flags, to.
He was lovely. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, super, super nice person. Seems like she'd be a great asset to Community Affairs, knowing some of the people who are already on there. So, yeah.
And that marketing degree, wow, this is we always need those people. Yeah.
Right. I always say I'm surprised. I'm glad a lot of these people who run for these volunteer boards don't run for select board, because I don't know if I'd be sitting here against them and their resumes. But
I agree. I know, and it makes me feel so humble. That's so much talent in the town.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'll make the motion.
Sure.
I move that the Select Board Interview Subcommittee vote to recommend Brianne Lefebvre Kaufman for appointment to Community Affairs for I guess it'll be a 2.5-year term to expire April 30th, 2027.
Second,
I'm in favor.
I'm in favor.
Angie, is that right that I did like the half year because November?
Yeah, because of April. Yeah, that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah, and you said the expiration, so that's in the
Yeah,
motion.
in their letter, it will say the expiration, so.
Okay, all right. All right, anything else we have to do?
Rudy Volk for the Historical District Commission
Oh, right,
as
yeah,
an alternate.
yeah.
I think we're in a place where we can make a motion to move him forward as an alternate.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we wanted him to explain that one thing, a couple of things on his application, which were mostly like language, spelling things, and I think that we we fixed that. So, so if he's an alternate, then do their terms expire? I guess so. Yeah, I guess so. So
Yeah, so that his term will expire 2027 for an alternate for Historic District Commission.
okay. So should I make that motion? I hope I do this right. I move that the Select Board Interview Subcommittee vote to recommend Rudy Volk for appointment to Historic District Commission as an alternate for a 2.5-year term to expire April 30th, 2027. How's
So
that?
moved.
Okay, so that's a second, and I vote aye.
Aye.
Okay,
All right.
check the agenda. Anything
And
else?
I think that's all on the official agenda.
Okay. Angie, thanks so much.
Yeah,
Thank
thanks for
you.
staying up with us, Angie.
Yeah, of course, no problem. Have a great night, everybody.
Yeah,
All
and
right,
we'd
do we
like
have to make a
thank
motion to
everyone for
close?
volunteering.
Yes.
Okay, move to adjourn. Is that what you
So-
said?
Yeah, so moved.
And I vote to
And we are
adjourn.
both right. Unanimous. Perfect.
Thank you.